right. Are we ready to go back there? Thank you guys for coming. I had a 5:30 p.m. panel, and I was like, we are going to be talking to an empty crowd. So I'm so happy that you're here and you braved it for 5:30 p.m. And I'm personally really excited about this panel because we have such an incredible group of people who have been working tirelessly and devoting themselves to AI and have so much knowledge to share. Firstly, I'm Yelena Rachitsky. I work at Meta. I lead a lot of our emerging formats work, and we really investigate, content innovation and how our new emerging technologies really creating more compelling experiences that give value to the people who buy our devices and play with our content. And I've been at Meta for 10 years, and it is a really incredible time right now, especially with emerging tech. And obviously our title is Can AI Make Your Game Better? And we're at a time with AI where we have such wildly different opinions about it. It's really interesting coming to GDC every year because you get a pulse on the landscape. And the progress we've made over the last year is interesting. Like, we're actually seeing stuff come up. Some people think AI is just a fad. Some people think AI is gonna solve everything. Some people think it's gonna take everyone's jobs. I think the reality for a lot of us working in technology is it's never just one of those things. It's never one extreme. It's really, how do you take the technology and how do you craft it into something that's meaningful? And that's what I'm really excited to talk about today. So before we start, how many of you in the audience are already working with AI in your development of some sort? Wow, pretty incredible. How many of you are kind of cynical about it and kind of come in here to make fun of the talk, or just are very apprehensive? So I get a sense. The person who has not taken a seat in the back is the one that isn't sure if he's going to stay or not. We have 3 different panelists, and we're going to get into a few different topics. One is around our creation tools and creating content more quickly, and more specifically, some of the things that Meta is invested in. So we have Joey Vergara, who's a technical game designer, who's going to dig into that. And then on the other end of the player experience, we really have one of the most expert people I can think of who's had a history of just bringing aliveness into characters. John Snoddy, who just announced his startup today, and he'll talk a little bit more about that. But how do you bring emotion and storytelling and creating aliveness into an experience? And then we also are going to talk about where this is all going. And we have Josh English, who is from Series AI, and I think one of the most well-funded and largest gaming studios that are investing fully into AI. So a lot of those categories, and I really hope you come away with some sort of insight in how you can work with it to make your experience better. So maybe very quickly, each of you can give just a short intro of who you are, and then we'll get into some of the questions.
Start here?
Start here, yeah.
Hey, I'm John Snoddy. We have a company called Operative Games. I have a long history in and out of kind of games and interactivity. I ran research and development at Disney for kind of the past 15 years, left about 2 years ago to start this company. And this company is about taking screenwriters, Hollywood storytellers, these people that are really great at creating the kinds of stories that really speak to our hearts and really are based on characters that are really meaningful to us, to take those characters and stories and to realize those with AI characters, so that you can actually interact with them and jump into a world with them. And in our case, we'll talk more about this in a minute, but our characters are fully conversational. They can talk on the phone or Zoom calls, and that's what we're doing. We just came out of stealth today, so exciting day.
Hi, Joey Vergara. I'm a technical game designer at Meta. I work in the Horizon org on creation tools, and my career had mostly been in AAA doing like character action stuff and gameplay verbs and really focusing in that area. And I did a bit of work on UGC platforms briefly before as well. What really excites me about the Horizon org and working in Gen AI specifically is how it really raises the floor for people to enter the ecosystem, start creating, similar to the way RPG Maker did for me when I was really young, or how Unity also did for me a long time ago as well. So I really get inspired by creating that entry point for people who otherwise may not have been able to do so.
Hi, I'm Josh English. I'm the CTO at Series Entertainment. We used to be called Series AI. We're a 2-year-old high-tech video game startup that we put the company together with the premise of, can we leverage generative technology, generative AI, to make high-quality video games? And what we've learned over the past couple of years is that we can actually use that to empower human creativity, and it's been a great success story for us because we launched our very first title from scratch, The Ultimatum, back in December. Choices from the Pixelberry Studio is also under our umbrella, and we're launching multiple other video games this year.
Wonderful, thank you. So we're going to start with you, Joey, and we have a little video to share. So that's a sizzle reel of some of the creation tools that Horizon's working in, and Meta's investing really deeply in AI and believes in it. And I brought Joey here because he's a technical game designer and actually working those tools to figure out if it's effective and what's helpful and what's actually helpful for developers and creators. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit about what Horizon is investing in, what's on the roadmap, and then also from a game designer perspective, what you're seeing as just really valuable around it.
Yeah, so the video showed a couple of the tools. Sorry, I'm a little camera shy, so take me a second. Do you mind me stating the question? I apologize.
No worries, no. So we're seeing a lot of these bespoke parts, right? Around sound effects generation, around texture generation, around mesh generation. I'd love to just hear a little bit more around what you're finding value in and where the Horizon roadmap is going.
Yeah, so one of the things that's really powerful about these tools, it really gets you from a blank page into something you can start working with, and that's really powerful. So, for example, the thing in that video, like it showed mesh generation, like they created that entire world for that video in just 2 hours of just typing in prompts to get a world to feel alive and colorful. The thing that's really valuable, honestly, is that I mentioned before in the intro, but it raises that bar to entry because I worked in huge AAA teams or AA teams of some of the most talented people in the industry. And if you're working by yourself or in a smaller team, there's just some quality bar you will not be able to hit by yourself without a lifetime of experience. So being able to just get a sounds that you can plug into your game and get that feel that you want, the ability to just get a script to work and get something working is really powerful. You know, one of the things that we're also really investing in, besides making these tools a lot better and a lot more useful and making sure they're actually great in a game creation context, because if you don't think about it in terms of how a creator actually makes something with it, you just have cool technology. But we want people to actually make something that they're proud of using these things and something that it really expresses themselves. Another thing we're investing in is, besides the tools being better and more of them, is how they're tied together so that a single prompt can also give you an output that combines these tools. So an example of that would be like, anybody who's made a game knows that if you want to punch something and something explodes, it's not as simple as it takes damage and it goes away. You need feedback. So if you prompt something like that, you also want to be able to get sound effects from that. You want to be able to get visual effects from that. You want to have the code show some like spring effect or something to make these things feel more alive. Sorry if I went a little tangential there.
No. That's really, really great. And then also from a game designer perspective, and thinking about people here trying to use it, what are you seeing as the technology being helpful for? And what do you think is the skill sets that are needed to use it as effectively as possible?
I mean, it's really useful just how fast you can iterate with these things. And anybody making a game, you want to iterate as quickly as possible, get feedback as quick as possible. Like even outside of the Horizon ecosystem, I'll use LLMs to, if I have an idea in OpenUnity and just like get something working quickly, these tools really make me able to test an idea a lot quicker than I had been able to before. I apologize.
No, this is great. And then I'm going to go to you, John, because right now we're talking about creation tooling, and where there's a lot of conversation around efficiency, and I know Josh will talk a little bit about that as well, of making things faster. But that doesn't always mean it's going to make things better. You might be able to test more ideas more quickly, but I'm curious from your perspective. What are you doing to bring more aliveness to it, and especially your work within characters? And I think a lot of us have seen demos that have felt very robotic and like tech demos. I'd just love for you to deep dive a little bit into how you're approaching it also as a game designer to just leverage it.
I worked for Disney for a long time, and when Disney's sort of the character shop, you really get the religion of story and story coming from the application of great characters and characters that have these deep backstories and histories, and that everything that somebody says on stage or on screen has to come from some motivation. And so kind of, in a sense, growing up in that almost, you think that way. You think that it's not just about typing a script and here's what I want the character to say. It really has to be, why would the character say that? And so you have to really start with those motivations. There's a funny thing that if you're writing a screenplay, you invent the character, you do a lot of history of the character, you figure out where it came from and all that stuff. But in truth, you ultimately just throw all that stuff away and you write the dialogue. So you turn in a page of dialogue with some stage notes and things on it. And for us, you throw the dialogue away because we generate all the dialogue live, and all that stuff that you used to throw away is the stuff that you turn in. All that backstory, all that history, so that we can have these characters feel complete and feel like they're saying things because they believe those things, and they're acting a particular way because that's what they understand of the world. And so that for us is the most important thing, is to do that homework and do that building, that foundational work, so that everything that happens when you're interacting with a character, that character is that way for a reason. And you don't have to actually know that reason, but just having it come from a reason makes the character complete and makes the experience feel true.
How do you approach it where you make it feel more like working with the AI? I think a lot of us have been using ChatGPT and prompting, and what comes out of there isn't as efficient, it doesn't feel that alive, and we're going to show video in a little bit that's going to show some of the character you're working on, which I'm excited to. But what's your process in going back and forth when you're prompting or working with writers, that you can give some insight to the audience of how you're actually finding what makes us connect to an experience?
Well, we spent about a year really in just handwriting prompts, just going in manually and trying to find those things of what is it that makes, why does the character feel stiff? Why does the character feel disconnected? We think of like Siri. Siri's this very smart lady that's always sitting there. You picture her staring into the camera, waiting for you to say something, but you're driving it all. You're she's not busy. She's not doing anything. She always has time for you. And in the characters we've designed and built, we always want them to, if I called you and any one of you in 2 hours, you're in the middle of something. It's not like you're standing there waiting, holding the phone, waiting for me to call. You're busy. You have lives, and so we come to a number of kind of epiphanies of how humans act, how we live our lives, and we're always in the middle of something. We're always going toward something or from something, and there's always something that's bothering us that we're a little worried about, and there's something we're hoping for, and something we're excited about, and something we can't wait to tell somebody about. And you have to have all that stuff. And it's funny, you don't use it. It's not like the character tells you everything that happened to them in the last 15 years, but by having it there, it does affect everything they say and everything they do. And then that has to extend into the animation and into the character design and into the if there's music, if there's, it all has to be one story, one experience.
Yeah, and a big theme that I'm seeing across AI is that need for craft and that need for storytelling. And I'm curious how you're approaching it, where there's one spectrum of AI that's very open-ended and gives so much agency. There's another end of the spectrum that's a film, and you're watching it in a passive way. What's your philosophy of creating a compelling experience that's kind of in the middle? How do you create a proactive experience that creates motivation and stakes, but also allowing for what's that magic of AI, which is a little bit of that agency?
We did a lot when I was at R&D at Disney. We did quite a lot of work on kind of new ways to tell stories. It really grew out of my getting to work with the feature animation team, like I said, and watching them craft those films and thinking about how amazing it would be if we could just get into a world with those characters and hang out and have fun, and we're really building that now. But the I don't know, I think I distracted myself. Tell me your question again.
That special space, I know it's 5:30 p.m., everyone, so everyone gets a little bit of a grace. That special space between agency and control, where you feel that magic of the AI that gets to know you, but if it's too open-ended, you get a little bit lost. And I think a lot of us have played some of those experiences. So I was just curious in your philosophy around that, until crafting these characters where they do become alive, where the player feels like they just made a friend, but it's not so open-ended that they get lost. And these spaces between storytelling and open-endedness, it's just such a space that I think you're digging into. And so that's the area that I was curious about understanding in your investigation on this.
Well, I think there will be really great open-ended, open world, make it up as you go along kind of experiences. I think those people will figure that out, and those will be cool and amazing and stuff. We're doing a different thing. We do feel like that storytelling is deeply human. It's as long as there's been speech, there's been storytelling, and it's just moved from medium to medium. From cave paintings to theater to film to animation to TV to video game. Just storytelling is one of the, it's not the only thing, but it's one of the things that really matters to people. And so we want to create things that feel like a story, that feel like it has the sense of kind of a beginning, a middle, an end, and has moments where there's a crisis, and that crisis builds to a climax, and then that climax gets resolved in a satisfying way. And again, I don't mean to say this is the only kind of storytelling that could ever be successful. There'll be many new forms, but that's a form that we know, that we love, that works. And so the first things we're doing are like that. So we have, all of our characters, as I said, in this first title we're doing, they all have phones. You can, they live in our world. They're not like off in a Star Wars world. You can call them on the phone, talk to them. You can text them, they'll text you back. You can schedule a Zoom call with them and interact with them face to face. And our stories have, there are mileposts that are fixed in our stories. We know what they are, you don't, but we're steering you gently toward these important milestones, because we want, you take the line, Luke, I am your father, that Darth Vader said to Luke Skywalker, and And that was like a moment where the Star Wars world just completely upended and changed and everything. And it was just a set of words that out of context mean nothing, but in context mean everything. But you had to have all this context built in the film for that moment to make sense. And so that's our job. We feel like it's almost like we're building a theme park for you. We've got some really exciting things that are going to happen. You don't know about them yet, but if you stick with us, you're going to wander through this thing and we're going to take you on a journey. And we think that's why you would give us money, is to take you on this journey to have fun with it. So that's kind of how we're looking at story.
Yeah, so maybe this is a good setup for the video we're going to show.
Sure,
so this
yeah.
is the first ever peek of your
It is.
new game that was announced today, out of stealth. Do you want to give a a little setup, or should we just play it?
Yeah, let's see. In this, I feel like I'm on the Tonight Show. In this clip that I just happen to have, our star is. It's the first time you meet this character. You've been told that you need to get on a Zoom call with this guy, and so you literally get a text, and it has a link for a Zoom link, and you click on that link on your phone, and it launches Zoom, regular old Zoom, plain old Zoom, and this is what you see. And so this is literally a call, no edits or anything. It's a call between Eric, one of our engineers, and this character Daniel.
Awesome. Let's see it.
Hey, Daniel.
Greetings, Eric. How's it going?
That's going pretty good.
I feel like a giraffe folding itself into a clown car.
Yeah, it does look like a tight squeeze.
Well, looks like my shirt decided to start its own abstract art gallery.
Yeah, man, hopefully that stain is easy to get out. Sorry about that.
No worries, it's just adding some character to my outfit. In case India didn't tell you, my name's Daniel Janik. And you must be Eric, right?
Yeah, that's me. She didn't say much about the nature of our conversation or anything, so it's kind of a mystery. What's up?
Gotcha. Well, you're catching me a bit off my game. I just got out of business lunch that turned into 6 rounds of soju and some loud karaoke. But let's get down to it. Sound good?
Oh, you can't drop that bomb without going into more detail. What did you sing?
All right. Picture this. A bunch of Korean investors, 6 rounds of soju, and me trying to hit the high notes on Bon Jovi's Wanted, Dead or Alive. Let's just say I'm more of a basketball guy than a rock star. Now, let's get back on track. Are you up for it?
Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome. So, Eric, tell me, what do you do for a living?
Actually, I'm a 3D artist. I work on animation and systems and 3D models and characters, stuff like that.
That's pretty cool. Bet you $5 imaginary dollars that takes a lot of creativity and patience. What's your favorite part of the job?
Honestly, lately, bringing characters to life. It's really cool to kind of inject animation and ideas and systems into a character that then turns around and surprises you. It seems very lifelike. So it's been quite the journey.
I can see why Anya thought your skills might be a great fit for our needs. It's all about bringing things to life, whether it's a character or getting to the bottom of a mystery.
That's wonderful. Yeah. It's one of the first I'm starting to see where the character has emotion into it, and it's the motivation and natural reaction. So really excited. And I think, there we go. And if you guys want to help, because apparently Enya needs your help, call her. And if you call that number, you'll talk to...
Yeah, that's literally another character in the game. That's her phone number. Feel free to give her a call. She's a little stressed out. See if you can figure out what's going on with her. I don't know. She tends to be that way, but give her a call when you have a minute.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Don. And Josh, you are one of the companies who I think is, like I mentioned, the most well-funded, fully AI native, has almost 200 people working in the company, fully focused on this area. So I look at you and I think of one of the probably most front runners, forward thinker companies in full AI native. And so I'd love to just pick your brain on what you think is being enabled now that wasn't possible. Like what you think we're going to be seeing coming out this year that you're really excited about.
Well, that's a really good question. I think what everyone here who has some experience with AI, you've noticed that I can make image, I can make art, I can make a 3D mesh. I think what we're going to see this year with the rapid advancement in the technological landscape is anyone will be able to develop a level, create a story, construct a narrative, lay out the beats for that story, create some compelling characters for that, write some music for it. There's going to be a lot of different game content capabilities that are going to be completely accessible to just about everyone. And I think what that's going to do is it's going to radically reduce the gap between how hard it is to make a video game and getting it, and the amount of time it actually takes to make it. So your time to market is going to be radically reduced. But that has some very, very interesting implications for the future as well. But for this year, we've already looked at a market space where, 1 million games launched on mobile last year? So we have massive market saturation. We have a room full of very skilled people here who know how to make games professionally. You make games for a living. If anybody can pick up a lot of these powerful tools, not to pick on Horizon, and make a video game, what is the difference between what the AI can do and what we can do? And the difference is the skills that you bring to the table. I think what people completely underestimate is that the same power tool that levels up everybody, allows you to make a game or game content, is going to have a scaling effect for everyone else who's already, something you already have talent for. It's going to be a force multiplier for everyone here to actually allow you to make high quality games a lot faster. It's going to automate a lot of the boring, repetitive things, and allow us to have a lot more time to focus on the creative aspect. So if all the boring stuff's taken care of for you and you get to focus on the fun stuff, finding the fun is going to be a heck of a lot easier.
And then on the other side, so we talked about the creation experience, and now thinking about all of this tech coming into runtime. We talked a little bit about the character component. I'd love to hear a little bit about where you're digging into kind of full simulation type of experiences that are on the end player.
Well, it's I think a lot of people have been focusing a lot on what you would call like a design time AI. How can I use AI to help me design, build, create a video game? What we're going to start seeing coming out in the next year, and something actually we're going to be launching next year, is video games with generative AI embedded in the video game itself. You're going to be able to have a conversation with an AI, and it will build the level. It will be able to lay out the story. It will design the quest for you. It will actually power the non-player characters that you interact with that will adapt based upon the choices that you make as a player in the video game. And that's really what it boils down to. The outcome of the video game is going to be based upon the sum of the choices that the player makes as they progress through the story. And that is the definition of what a user experience is. And so this is a very powerful capability for broadening and deepening the player experience.
And where are we going to see some of that come out from series?
I'm sorry?
Are we going to see some of that come out from series?
You're going to see some of that come out from series, for sure.
Wonderful. And so for everyone here, and there was a lot of hands of people who are actually working with AI in some ways, and I think everyone here is learning how to use it more effectively. So for each of you, what is the advice you would give for people to leverage it to really make their game better, as the title of our panel points to? What do you think is some of the important points for them to take into consideration as they're figuring this out? And maybe we'll start with you, Josh, and we'll go down.
Well, I think like any new technology, this is a very scary thing. Is AI going to take my cheese? Is AI going to take my job from me? It's not. AI is going to be a power tool allowing you to do things and increase your capability. So my recommendation to you, if you want to make a game better with AI, is the person who's going to make the game better is you, not the AI. Well, what it is going to do is going to be it's going to be an enabler for you to make a better game. And that's what I think we're going to see a lot of examples of this in the next year.
And tips from you, Joey, as people are using Horizon and different creation tools, what can they do to leverage it and get the best output so their experiences can be the best they can be?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to invite everybody here who maybe took a look at Horizon a long time ago, maybe you haven't. We released our desktop editor in early access just a month ago. Some of our AI tools are released, some are coming soon, some are coming further down the line. And I feel like the tools themselves are actually extremely powerful for onboarding and learning a new ecosystem. So for example, our scripting is done in TypeScript, which if you're coming from most other places, is probably not where you thought that the scripting would come from. And I found it a little daunting at first, but the tools actually onboarded me onto it very quickly when I hadn't done any web development previously. And so in terms of like making your games better, I think the tools can actually make you better at what you do. Like as a hobby, I've been starting to build a software renderer in C. It's a little masochistic, but the Gen AI actually helped me like link libraries, which is something I didn't want to spend my time doing, and now I understand it a lot better than if I was just going through the documentation and hoping I was looking at the right page. So yeah, use our editor, use our tools, onboard onto it, try to create some stuff. It's super fun to use. We're also investing a lot into creator funds, so there's also money to be made if you're having fun building with our tools, so why not try?
John?
AI is kind of, it's like a magic wand. You know, the first time you use it, you just can't believe, I just said those words and there's a picture there. And it's kind of an amazing picture. It's a picture I could never paint. And it is incredible what it can do for you. But when you really start to use it professionally, it gets much more difficult. You know, doing something great is still hard. You know, much of the busy work can be done by others. But if it's going to be great, it's going to be hard. And I find that I can create an image that's surprisingly good for me, but then when our creative director, Jeff Gibson, makes an image, suddenly it's like, yes, that's it. It's exactly that. It's so much better than when I do it. And so I guess I would say, yeah, it's sort of a magic wand, but a magic wand in the hands of a magician is an even more amazing thing. So craft still matters. You said that earlier, and it does. And I don't mean you have to go hire, you know, a Disney feature animation director to be able to get anything done. You don't. But you do have to focus, to pay attention to, you know, you can make passable things very, very, very quickly, but understand that everybody's making passable things, and the things that are really successful will rise above that. And those are the things that really people apply themselves to, that really put their soul into, and bring together a team of people that really care about every aspect of it and kind of sweat those details.
Yeah, and I think that's a good end point in really what our panel is called is, can it make it better? And a couple of the bigger takeaways is AI does not replace creative talent. And I think we've all seen AI come out and we can tell when it lacks a bit of soul. And it's the human touch, it's the creative talent, it's the story, it's the character, it's the orchestration of it that like makes it feel alive, and we has a human instinct. So that is one of the big takeaways. And the other one is thinking of AI as kind of like a teammate or a partner that you kind of work against and figure out, and it figures you out. And those are the two big areas that have been coming up across the conversation here. And one thing I want to say is that at Meta, we really believe in this, and we're investing in it. One part is the creation tools, and another part is new content innovation. So if you have really incredible ideas or new ways of making stuff, we always love to hear it, and we're putting some resources behind it. So there's a lot of interest in getting started. And unfortunately, we don't have time for a Q&A, but we'll be outside if you have questions. If you have questions on how to get started at Horizon, if you want to talk more about John's awesome game, or what the incredible things that's happening out of series. I think you said you're launching 8 games this year alone?
Yeah. Yes. We have a lot of games in the pipeline.
A lot of games.
Wow.
So love to hear from you. I think we're all in this exciting space of figuring out together. So let's share knowledge. We're here to support. And I want to thank you guys for coming and braving the 5:30 p.m. panel time, and for this incredible group of panelists who are able to share their deep knowledge with us. So thank you, everyone.